Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again for another episode of Leading on Mondays. My name is Lungu, and I'm so delighted to be with you today. And today, as usual, I'm joined by my teaching partner, Madalina Ghinescu. Welcome, Madalina.
Hey Florin, hello everybody. I'm so excited to talk to you about the character, which is the foundation of a leader's position. So, I have something prepared and also some questions prepared for us today. Are you ready, Florin?
I'm born ready.
Oh, good. So, let's discuss first of all, in your opinion, what do you think character is in the matter of leadership?
Yeah, so in my opinion, I believe is the foundation of leadership because, well, character for me means trust, right? And there is
Mhm.
no leadership without trust. How can you follow someone that you don't trust? If I would
Mhm.
lead you on a maybe on an expedition, or if we go on a trail somewhere in the mountains and you don't trust me, like how confident would you be to follow me on that journey if you don't trust me? So I believe character is when we have a choice, and usually in every situation we have a choice. One choice is to stick to our values, which is character, or to compromise our values. And for me, is choosing the kind of company you want to work for, choosing
Mhm.
the kind of role you want to be in, and choosing the kind of clients you want to serve. For me, there are some non-negotiable. For example, I don't work with gaming companies. I don't work with um, weapon companies. I don't work with companies that have to do with things that are against my values. And I believe that speaks character. So I believe this is the foundation for leadership. If we don't have trust, we cannot lead people anywhere. What is your take on character?
In my opinion, character is what you think, what you say, and what you do are aligned. So, whenever something is not aligned in these three categories, then means that you don't have a good character. But there is one good news for this: everybody can build up the character. So, if let's say sometimes from time to time you are not aligned with these three categories, like what you say, what you think, and what you do, then you can first of all observe yourself that you're doing something wrong, that you're not aligned, and then create a strategy for you not to repeat the same mistake again. So
Wow.
this is my opinion of character.
So it's almost like walk your talk, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
But
And
you
it,
also added the thinking, right? Because you said what you think, what you say, and what you do, right?
yeah, it's just sorry. People are calling me right at this moment, and I cannot I cannot mute my phone. Sorry for that. For that. Yes, I added the thinking element, and it's very related to what we discussed last time, related to attitude. It depends. The way you behave with people actually creates your attitude, and people feel your attitude. And it's very important for us as leaders to understand that character is very close to attitude,
Yeah.
because when you think something, that thinking or the way you think actually shows in your behavior.
Exactly.
If you're procrastinating, that means you find excuses not to do things, then people will see that you're procrastinating, and this can be seen in your character and in your attitude. So
Wow.
it's important to look at those things very closely. And I will add one more thing to this.
Sure.
You need to have, as leader, you need to have a good character so people will follow you. Because I will ask you this question, and please be very careful how your answer to this question. Will you follow a leader who is lacking character? Maybe he's lying. Well, maybe they are lying. Maybe they don't follow what they promise to you. Or maybe you cannot trust them because repeatedly they showed you that they cannot be trusted. Would you follow, even though they have the position of being your leader, would you follow them in those situations?
Well, probably not more than my what I call contractual obligation, right? So if I'm obliged
Yes.
by a contract that I need to show up at work at 8 o'clock in the morning and I need to work until 5 p.m. And I need to deliver this and that, that's something that I will probably do because I'm forced. At the end of the day, they have the leverage of maybe my salary, but not more than that, right?
But you won't be willing to do the
No,
extra mile for them because
no.
they're lacking character, right?
No, exactly. And I might not even be, probably I will not be open with them. I will not tell them what I think because I don't know how this is maybe going to be used against me.
Yes, and not only that, but let's say when people don't trust you as a leader, they of course they won't tell you things that they think about. Maybe there will be very important information for you. Let's say, for example, if in your team and the team doesn't trust you, they know that there is an issue with a specific process in your industry and there's a bug in that. And because they don't trust you, you won't be able to find out until maybe it's too late.
Yeah,
So, because people don't trust you because you're lacking character, then this kind of restriction of information might cause you some trouble or might cause you some
exactly.
damage. So it's important to, from the beginning, it's important for anybody, not only leaders, because we are talking about human beings here.
Sure.
We need to build up our character first of all to find out what are our flaws, to identify them, especially those flaws that are causing damage to other people, and build up a strategy to actually overcome them and to become better versions of them, of ourselves. And with this, of course, you will gain more leadership influence and people will follow you because of who you are and not because of your position and because you're doing also the extra mile.
Absolutely. And so what would you say to someone, for example, that is looking to, to get a leadership position, or they're looking to improve? They don't have yet a position. They don't have a team, right? But they're looking to become a leader, right? What would you say to them, like, when it comes to character?
First of all, I also encourage them to observe themselves,
Mhm.
because leadership in any position, even well in any level, not any position, even you have a position or not an official position of a leader or you don't, it depends on the self leadership, because what we are doing here is this self leadership one-on-one series. So we're talking about how we lead ourselves. And first of all is just to have an analyze of your own self to see if you're lacking anything in the matter of character. And I have a list prepared with 15 questions which are a little hard to answer, but even if you cannot answer at this moment, at least look at them and try to give an answer, because that is can be the starting point for you to build up your character or to see where are the flaws in your character. And I would like to see if I can share this image with you. Just 1 second. Okay, let me know if you can see it on the screen.
Now we can.
Okay, good. So we have a 15 questions of self-check character questionnaire. So whenever you think about yourself, just try to answer these questions. I'm not going through all of them because you will have this list. You can check it later.
Yeah.
But at least let's take number seven, for example. Do you take too much satisfaction in your perks and privileges? Something that you need to answer, you need to think.
Right.
Do you denigrate the motives and accomplishment of others?
Right.
So it's not a matter of if you have a leadership position or not. If
Yeah.
you as a human being, if you denigrate the motives and accomplishment of others, then you have a lack in character.
Yeah. For example, number 11 again. Put my own success ahead of the success of others. Right.
Yeah,
And
yes,
and,
it's like
and
being
even number
selfish.
one, and even number one feels superior to those
Yeah,
that work for me or with me, right? So all these things have to do with character.
exactly. So you need to pay attention. If you answer yes to this list of questions, then you have something to do with your character. So you need to create a strategy to increase your character, so you can actually be a better leader or a better human being. In fact, not only a leader. So I encourage you to look at this list, answer it, and then find a strategy. What would you do whenever you feel superior, for example, to those who work for me or to work with me? What would you do instead? So you observe yourself that you feel superior. What would you do? So you make sure that next time you are not feeling superior to others. So
Yeah,
in my
that
situation, for one example, simple example, when I observe myself being like that, and guess what? I've done that last week, and I'm ashamed to say that because I'm talking about leadership, but I still have my flaws and I still have to build out my character. I was having this attitude of superiority to my colleagues. Yeah, look at me. I'm Madalina. I did this and that, so I know this and that, and you don't know. Well, in my head was this kind of dialogue. And even though I didn't express it verbally, my attitude was shown. And I was thinking to myself, I said, what happened today? I actually felt superior to other people, and that made me treat them differently.
mm,
This is not the way I want to do. So next time I will have another chance next week to interact with my colleagues face to face again. So it will be a good opportunity for me to see if I learned my lesson.
yeah,
Next time I will just look at people as they are a 10. Yeah, like a 10 mark people, like a great people.
yeah.
So
Because
this is one example, and this is one strategy that I can use for just for question number one.
yeah, and that's so good because think about if you treat people, if you see people as being, inferior, like
Yeah.
you believe that you have nothing to learn from them, right? You believe that you know everything, you have all the answers, and there's nothing to
Yeah.
learn from them, right? And one of the greatest mindsets of a leader is that you can learn something from everyone that you interact with, right? Everyone, even a homeless person on the street can teach you something because they've been through an experience that you have not been through, and you don't have to go to that experience
Yes.
in order to learn it. But if you see them as somehow inferior, then you're not going to learn because you're not going to be open to them teaching you something. So think about that. If you as a leader see other people as inferior, then that gives you a sense of superiority, which is you close your mind to learning something from them. You miss a lot of opportunities if you think that way.
Yes,
So
and the people will feel this kind of superiority attitude from you, and then they won't be as willing to help you or leading because they want to be led by you, but because they need to follow you. There is a contract, like you said at the
yeah,
beginning. So they won't doing the extra mile, because people don't like this kind of arrogant people next to them.
yeah,
So they won't
exactly.
they won't follow just because they want to follow.
Oh, absolutely. So I think this is actually so when it comes to leadership and being a leader and the link between leader and character, I think there is a quote by John Maxwell that I really love where he says that leader cannot raise above the limitations of their character.
Oh yes, I agree.
So leaders cannot raise above the limitation of their character. So that's why we say character is the foundation for leadership, right? And without good character values, you cannot build leadership influence. You cannot become a
Hmm.
leader, right? And
Yes,
for me,
exactly.
when I help leaders, right, to develop, right, when I help leaders to develop, what I do is we look at, okay, so because the thing with values, right, because at the core of character means us having good values and sticking to those values. I
Yeah.
don't agree with I know religion, it's a controversial discussion. If we get into any kind of religious discussion, it could be controversial, but
Yeah.
most religions teach good values. Most religions at the base, at the core, right, teach
Yes.
good values, right? And so if we think about, values, we think about things that uh, the challenge with values is that these have been passed on to us usually by our parents. Like when I think
Mhm.
back, a story that comes to mind is my grandfather that passed away in 2019, and he was kind of the role model for me. And he told me all the time, like, Florin, I have access to all kind of things in the kind of work I've done, but I never steal. I never took advantage of other people. I never went into business that I know was detrimental for other people. You know,
Mhm.
and he said, don't go for the easy money, right? Because this usually it's taking shortcuts. So he just instilled in me these values when I was young, and he was a role model for me. So
Mhm.
it might be that we have grown up in different environments, and we have been instilled with different values. So if you are now you probably are a grown-up adult now that you're looking to become a leader, or you are already a leader, then it may be a good opportunity for you to make a value check, to look at, okay, so what is actually important to me. Values are our non-negotiable, right? Like, as I
Yes.
said, I will never work with a company that works with gaming, because I believe gaming is addictive, and it creates a kind of a virtual environment which this disconnects people from the reality of the real world, well, where they are not equipped for succeeding in the real world if you live in
Mhm.
a virtual environment. And I believe that it's in my opinion detrimental to people, so I will not engage in working with a company like that. So these are my non-negotiable. What is the line that you never cross? Like, for example, I will never work with less than this amount of money or salary, right? I will never
Mhm.
work uh, for a company that takes advantage of other people. For example, they don't pay fairly, or whatever that is, right? You have to look at what are your non-negotiable, and then, as you said, step number two will be, you know, uh, practice what you preach. Like you said, walk your talk, right? Make sure
Yes.
that your thoughts, right, your words and your actions are aligned, right?
Yes.
And that is how we build the character muscle, right? As I said in the very beginning, I said that in every situation we have a choice, either a choice of character or a choice of um, compromise, right? And the moment you compromise your values, then what is left? If you compromise your values today, when the stakes are low, then um, you know who knows what might happen when you have the power. So
Yeah,
that
it's
these
it's
are the kind of
problematic.
yeah, these are the kind of questions that your people actually will ask themselves. Okay, so if Florin, you know, doesn't keep their word today, when tomorrow when he would have the power, then how do I know that if he promises me a career advancement or a salary increase, that he will keep
Mhm.
his word or not? So these
Yeah.
will be kind of two things. Like, first of all, make sure, do a check-in on your values, make sure that you kind of know what are your non-negotiable, then practice what you preach. And another thing will be to value other people. When you value other people and you put them first, then that's when you think less of yourself, because all the things that they were on that list that you just showed were more about me being first. If I see myself superior, then I see other people inferior. So then I,
Inferior. Yeah.
I don't put other people first. So when you start to put other people first, then that's when you build your character, because it's not about you, it's about them.
Hmm. I would make one observation here, because people, when you think about to place others first, they don't think at themselves at all. And I need to remind you of the oxygen mask exercise in the airplane. So, okay, you think of others, but first of all, you need to make sure that you're safe, that you can breathe, you can actually live, so you can help others, and you can put others first. So make a difference, a very clear difference between you being arrogant and you being above others and you don't consider others at all. uh, and the difference between this and the other part where you only put people first and you forget all about yourself, and
Yeah.
you don't put your oxygen mask. So make this distinction between your attitude and your actions, and then make sure that you are safe, you are okay, you actually value and you keep your values, your main core values. And other after that you actually put people first. So respect your values, then put other people first, and stay there, not to place yourself above others.
Right.
Do you have one example? Maybe it's easier for us to think of to relate to an example related to the lack of character on maybe the other side. You if
Yeah.
where you had proven your character in leadership.
Yeah, I think an example that comes to mind right now is a few years ago, I was a team leader for a team of engineers. And because we work in the automotive industry, we had this kind of our office. It was split between two areas. One was the kind of the desks and everything where we work at our computer. And then because we work in the automotive industry, we tested vehicles. Then we had a workshop area where we had cars and tools. And so we usually it's just a door between those two areas. But in the workshop area, because of safety reason, we had to wear safety shoes, right? Those shoes that are reinforced with, with metal. So if something drops on your feet, it doesn't hurt you. So it was for us. I was the team leader, so I was responsible for my team's safety. So for me,
Mm,
because I didn't really work in the car, and I just briefly from time to time went into the workshop area, it would have been very easy for me just to follow some green lines that there were in the workshop and not put on my security shoes, because I just went on those lines. I said, I'm here just a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, and nothing happens. But
yeah.
I could not ask my team to put on their security shoes if I didn't put on myself, even if I was there for only a couple of minutes. So
Oh,
I,
yeah.
because that because if I say, well, you should wear your security shoes, and they will point back, well, but you don't wear yours. So I had to wear my shoes every single time. But by doing that, that put me in the position where I could ask them to do the same. That put me in the
Mhm.
position where I show my character. So you're not only talking about security, you're showing that security is important. So I think that was
Mhm.
an example where it has helped me to be able then to build that trust and that influence with my team.
Wow, good example. Like I totally relate to that. You cannot tell me what to do if you're not doing that already. So
Exactly.
the discussion about character, of course, it cannot be summed up in 20 something minutes. So we invite you to look at the list, to check yourselves daily, to create strategies for you to build up character, to make sure that you're not doing the same mistakes over and over again. And next time on our list, the third pillar of leadership, of the basic foundation of leadership, is, guess what? Self discipline.
Wow, that's so good. I cannot wait. Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
hard topic.
Well, we're gonna see exactly. I have some bad examples already. I know when I was not disciplined, but we know
Me
that this is
also.
again one of those foundational things for leadership. So thank you for tuning in today. We look forward to see you next week with that episode on self discipline. All right, take care. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.